All right, we're going to go ahead and get started with our first driver press conference of the weekend. We are joined now by Kevin Harvick, driver of the number 29 Jimmy John's Chevrolet. Kevin is currently third in points, 3 wins on the season, including last week in Kansas. He won the Coca-Cola 600 here earlier this year. And Kevin, if you can just open up talking about your momentum after last week's win and coming back to Charlotte.
Yeah, well, obviously, last week went about as well as you could write it down on a piece of paper for us. So, sitting on the pole and winning the race is a little bit out of character from what we've done in the past. But, I think for us, it gives us a lot of confidence in the things that we can do and need to do to keep ourselves in position to continue to race for this championship over the next several weeks. So. We've went to a few racetracks that obviously haven't been great for us in the past, and we had a good run in Chicago. Didn't fare so well in Loudon, and had a decent run in Dover and Kansas. So we just need to continue that, and I think as the schedule goes towards the end of the year, the racetracks get better for us as we move further down the line.
All right, thanks a lot. We'll go ahead and take questions. Please wait for the wireless mic and start with your name and affiliation. We'll start up here with Tom.
Hi, Kevin. Tom Jensen, FoxSports.com. A couple years ago, I think it was when you won the All-Star race, you said you hated this place, even though you won it. You always struggled here, and since then you've won the Coke 600 a couple times. Are you more comfortable at this track? Do you like it better now?
Yeah, I think for us, it's that was a few years ago. That was one of our goals, was to figure out what we needed to do, and I think probably see in our nationwide schedule, it's a racetrack that we run a couple times a year. We've focused a lot on trying to not have that be the stigma that sticks in our minds as we come to this particular place, and we've run a lot better since the car changed. I think for us was a good thing. It created new setup packages and things that fit more of my driving style, and the things that I felt in the car were better for me once we switched cars. So it's been a good place for us the last several years, and feel good about coming into the weekend. And obviously we won the first race here, so we just have to keep doing the things that we've been doing, feel good about where we are, and coming to the track.
We'll go to Alan Cavanna and then to the back of the room.
Alan Cavanna, NASCAR.com. Kevin, about a decade ago, there was a stretch of years there where rookies came in and they succeeded right away. Yourself winning, your first year, and we saw that a few times over the course of 5 or 6 years. We don't see that as much anymore. I was just your thoughts on what's changed. Why can't rookies get to victory lane like they used to?
Yeah, I think there's really not as good of a training ground that there used to be. I think that the cars the nationwide cars and trucks are so slow. You get into a cup car, and the driving style that has been created for the younger drivers is so drastically different than what a cup car is, and it has made the experience of the cup drivers more valuable, just for the fact that the driving style is so unique. So I think when I was coming in, the cars were more similar. You raced on pretty much the same tire pretty much every week, and the cars were a little bit faster. So I've definitely mentioned that, and I think it would be good for our sport to see some of the guys come in. I think obviously Kyle Larson's running this week. I think he's going to be successful in the sport, and hopefully they give him the time to do what he needs to do. So it's just hard, and obviously the chances with the economy and the things of people taking chances aren't there, but the training ground is just not as good as it used to be.
We'll go Ryan, and then if you can pass the mic behind you, Ryan.
Ryan McGee, ESPN. Kevin, the history and the numbers say it's very difficult after 4 races to come from behind to win the championship with this format. Give us an honest assessment of your chances and how important momentum is. Sometimes maybe we make too much of that.
Well, I mean, the thing that I relate it to is I saw 2 of you when I sat in my media session coming into Daytona. So everybody's written us off from the beginning of the year to not be in the chase, and let alone be competitive and winning races in the chase. So we'll just keep bucking the system, and hopefully it works out.
Matt Weaver, PopularSpeed.com. Kevin, you mentioned the Golden Horseshoe a couple of years ago, and I'm reminded of that last week at Kansas, where you win the race, and you're racing Johnson and Kenseth for the championship. Johnson blows a motor with 2 laps to go, only loses 1 spot. So I guess what I'm wondering is, how frustrating is it for you to try to get max points and get back in the championship, and those guys always seem to have the good luck, or is it a case where, Jimmy and the 48, they make their own luck?
I think for us, we controlled the things that we could control last week, and that was by scoring max points. And you have to have some luck on your side to be around at Homestead. So hopefully, you catch some of those breaks at whether it be Talladega or Martinsville, and hopefully, you can counterbalance that with some lucky breaks of your own. So running good and running up front, you'll probably get more good breaks than you will running mid-pack, because you'll just have more options. And that's just like qualifying last week. I think that really opened our eyes to realizing, when you have a qualifying day like that, you had a lot more options when it came time to come down pit road, and not having to scramble all day to keep yourself in the game. So it's you gotta try to create some of your own opportunities, but you also have to have some luck go on your side. So, obviously, Jimmy had some luck go on his side, but that's just part of winning this championship. And I think that's probably something that we've learned. You're going to get some bad breaks, and it's just how you overcome those. And then when you get the good breaks, it's how do you capitalize on those.
We'll go Ben, Viv, and then over to the other side of the room.
Kevin, I'm over here, Ben White with Lexington Dispatch. Just a question about Phoenix International Raceway. Is that a track that you normally run well at, or is it kind of a hot and cold track for you? In other words, you do well or not so well? How would you classify that?
I don't even know when that race is. Right now I'm concentrating on Charlotte, but Phoenix has been a good place for us. We won this race last year, so.
Viv.
Viv Bernstein, New York Times. It's been about a month since the cheating scandal. I'm wondering if there's anything that lingers from that, and if there's going to have any sort of lasting impact changing this sport moving forward.
That's a great question. I think as you look at it, I think obviously from the outside looking in, there was probably 100 different things that you could have done to handle the situation different from a sanctioning body standpoint, from a team standpoint. There's a lot of things that happen that everybody, I'm sure, looks back on and says, I would have done this or this different. But I'm sure that you could say that about the NFL too. They look back on the concussion thing and the way that it's been handled, and so you have to make reactions at the moment to make decisions, and the sanctioning body made the decision. And obviously, for us not sitting in that position to make those decisions, I think it's it's easy to criticize, but they're tough decisions to make. I think that the repercussions that the team has seen from it are obviously pretty big, and I think if they look back on it, they would probably say that they would have done things a little bit differently to protect the things and the sponsors and that are expected from their fans. And you listen to the reaction of to Clint, and obviously you hear the fans boo, and you hear the things that they think about it, and I know that bothers him, but it's had a lot of repercussions. I think if everybody had to do it over again, I'm sure that they would do things differently, but you have to make decisions at the time, and those were the decisions that were made, and everybody's trying to move on, and definitely be something that's talked about for a long time.
We're going to go Nate and then David.
Nate Ryan, USA Today Sports. Kevin, there was rare news this week of a Sprint Cup driver getting arrested. so many times NASCAR has sort of been hailed as being unlike other sports, whose athletes might be like more susceptible to being caught in a police blotter or headlines for the wrong reason. When something like that happens, do you have concerns about how it reflects on the brand of NASCAR drivers collectively, and how sponsors might view getting involved because of that? And do you think NASCAR should take action in that sort of instance?
Well, I don't think anybody knows all the details yet, so it'd be hard for me to comment exactly on what did or didn't happen. So I think everybody wants the sport to be represented in the right way. But without knowing all the details, it'd be hard to give an opinion.
We're going to wrap up with David here.
David Scott from the Charlotte Observer. Kevin, they're having the modification test out here on Monday. What are you looking forward to coming out of that, or what do you see from that?
I don't even know what it's for, to be honest with you. I have no idea. I know my current team isn't inviting me, and I know that my future team can't. So I hadn't been involved in many of those discussions, if any, that I
They're looking
know
at
of.
possibly, changes for next year with the cars for next year to, increase, help out the racing or that kind of thing. But
Yeah.
if you haven't heard, you haven't heard.
I hadn't been paying attention to it, to be honest with you. I have a tough time keeping up with what I got going on.
All right. Thanks a lot for your time today, Kevin.
Thanks, guys.